Hey, Kedibone.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Awesome. See, we're both wearing red today.
I know, right? I'm just cold, so excuse my thing. I'm just cold.
Uh, at least
Are
good.
you well, man?
Yeah, very good. Cold, but well, COVID free, and yeah, just hustling hard.
I know, right? It's the first time we meet. I've never met you actually. I've worked
Y-
with you a million times.
Yeah, you've been at events where I've been, but I've either been backstage or doing something else and running around.
It
So
means you never came to say hi. That's what it means.
it does mean that.
Yeah, because you can say, "Hey, kid, it's John." I'm like, "Hi, what's up?" You know what I mean? Are you good though?
Yeah, I'm good. But you know what? At events, I'm at the bottom of the food chain, so I'm a worker. So I'm not there to interact with the talent and rub shoulders with celebrities. So
What do you wear like those are overalls like when like the workers wear like the blue suits that the workers wear. Do you wear those when you're at events?
no, I've never worn overalls. No,
I'm
but
just
I've
pulling your leg, man.
but I've carried speakers. I've set up jumping castles. I've done all sorts of things. So yeah.
Nice, bro. But how you keeping then? I got vaccinated yesterday. My arm is still painful. So yeah. And you, how you keeping?
Yeah, I am not vaccinated yet, but I will be first dose, first jab on the 7th. So I'm looking forward to
Oh,
that.
have you registered already?
Yeah, registered, done and dusted, super keen and impressed with the platform. So
Conversations about
yeah,
racism is all the conversations about racism have been mostly been cosmetic because people are scared to talk about the uncomfortable elements of racism or the uncomfortable truth. So I think the more uncomfortable, the better. So let's go.
okay, excellent. So
Hi everyone,
yeah, we're
we
going to
go.
quickly chat with Kedibone, and those of you who have no idea who he is, I don't know where you've been. Maybe you've been under a rock, apparently not on YouTube. But he's one of South Africa's smartest comedians. Now, what do I mean by a smart comedian? Well, I categorize them as a comedian they're very clever. They think out their pattern. They don't really rely on swearing and profanities. That's kind of lazy comedy. So Kedibone is one of the smarter comedians in South Africa. And the reason I wanted to chat to him today was because of something he did on social media. He didn't do anything bad. He did a post, and I'm going to read it out to you quickly. He wrote, "It's always been us who have been participating in willing." And then he's given a few points. The first one is one, dialogue on racism, two, reconciliation, apartheid, three, forgiving and forgetting, four, talking, um, taking in all the inequalities, and the fifth one, swimming in poverty. Final one, taking taking in hatred and racism. So you did these 5, 6 points, and then you did some hashtags. I'll share this in the post as well. But as a business and environmental technologist, I've got to chat about racism because it's part of the recipe. Or part of South Africa, and I can't plot out scenarios for business or communities by ignoring that. So I wanted to jump on the bandwagon here and take this opportunity to chat with them. So thanks again, Kedibone, for joining me today.
You're welcome, man. Let's do it.
So, what did you mean by those points? Those 5, 6 points. Well, can you unpack them? Can you clarify? Why did you do the post? Was it an emotional
Um,
day, or what triggered it?
I did the post because it was an emotional day. I was a bit angry at where we are now as a country and where we're going as a country. Um, it's basically what it says, because as Black South Africans, right, we we've always been begging the white community. When I say the white community, I mean like 90% of the white community. We've always been begging the white community to work with us when it comes to the reconciliation topic, because the late Nelson Mandela said we need to reconcile so we can move forward as a nation. But that's not happening because it's only us as Black people that are willing to talk, to participate about reconciliation. I mean, it's only us that should forgive and forget. Everybody knows that apartheid was a bad part of our history, in the country, and is
awful.
Yeah, and then most white people indirectly or directly benefited from apartheid. What do I mean by that? I mean, you might find that the wealth that your great-grandfather or your grandfather or whatever accumulated, you still benefited from that, And there's also the element of white privilege, apartheid played a major role in white people enjoying white privilege, But now, with us, the reason why white people, once again, when I say white people, I mean 90% white people. The reason why white people love Nelson Mandela is for this one and this one reason only, is because Nelson Mandela managed to calm us down as black people, right? So that there mustn't be civil war in the country. And they managed to calm us down as black people, like, hey, don't fight, forgive and forget, we admire Nelson Mandela, we listen to him, then that's what we did, right? As we're doing that, the forgiving and the forgetting, white people were not participating, right? It was just us that were participating in the forgiving and the forgetting because we're the victims of apartheid, right? And then because of that, white people managed to keep their privilege and the wealth and whatever it is that they accumulated during apartheid. So now the white people's way of life wasn't disturbed at all, right? Most of the economy and the land, whatever, still in white hands, So what we're living comfortable. But now, when you look at black people, because it is us, we feel like we're begging white people to work with us so that we can all enjoy the economy of the country, the land of the country. But what we are not interested, because white people are scared of losing the white privilege, of which is wrong. I think if everybody gets to live a comfortable life, you'll find that the country moves forward in a better way and faster. It's like what you were saying now. It's like because we're not addressing racism, the cake that we're baking will never ever stand up. It'll always be wobbly or fall down. So now that's what I mean by that. It's painful, because as black people, we ANC has failed. What do I mean by ANC has failed? ANC has failed to address racism. Because as a government, you're supposed to put in policies. If the policies are not working, you change the policies and make sure that it's that we address this elephant in the room. Because I trust you me. If we do address that, I think we'll move forward well as a country. That's what I mean by that.
I'm not being rude. You're making points here, and I have some questions to ask you at the end of this. Man, I've got to ask you one other question before you say now. So I'm not being rude. You keep talking.
No. Go ahead. So it's that. If you look at so white people are just not interested in reconciliation. White people are not interested in talking to us about racism. White people are just not interested. You find that there's a small part of the white community that are just petty about racism. Like you find there are some complexes in like your Centurion where black people are not allowed to go renting or buy property. Like they will make it close to impossible for you to rent a property within these complexes or to buy property. That's just petty.
Like the body corporates. The body corporates.
It's just petty. Like, and then because now what such white people do, right? Even if they don't teach their kids racism, their kids are learning from what their parents do, right? And then so racism keeps being renewed from generation to generation, right? And then now our fear as black people, right, currently in the country, is that racism is becoming status quo, it's becoming normal. Our kids think it's normal, and it's not normal. You know what I mean? And the reason why, dude, it's painful. It's a very touchy subject. The reason why most white people don't know about it is because you don't engage us. But black people are crying within us. We're in pain, we don't know what to do, you know what I mean? Because now, as an average black person, most of your
Dear, we seem to have frozen that connection, but it's good now.
Somebody's trying. No.
Is it business? Is it a booking?
No, it's not booking in this. No, it's not. It's my brother. I'll call him back.
Okay.
What was that? I was saying racism in corporate South Africa. You know, dude, it's hectic. It's hectic. And the reason why, once again, most people might not be aware of that is because if you're benefiting from something, you are not aware that that's something is happening because you're not on the other side of the line, right? Most Black people are unemployed, right? Because of the policies that government put in place, because of racism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And then now, as a Black person, you find yourself doing a job A that Jacobus is also doing, but now Jacobus gets paid 30,000 a month, and then you as a Black person, you get paid.
Welcome back.
Okay, sorry, apologies. I just had to take that call. I said I'll call him back. So now, as a Black person, you find yourself in a situation where, you know, you hate going to work because you're dealing with racism every day in your corporate job, right? But now, if you leave, you know that you're gonna go slide back to poverty where there's no food at home, right? But now, the corporates, this is how they treat the whole thing, racism. So as a Black person, if you complain, you are shown the door, there's the door, you can leave, because they know that they'll replace you tomorrow morning, because now there's 1,000 CVs of Black people that are qualified to do the job that I'm doing. So if I complain, I'm out, right? Then if you complain, things are made difficult for you to continue the job, so you end up leaving. Most Black people have quit their corporate jobs because of racism, right? And then as Black people, we realize that as it is now with the ANC government in power, we're not getting anywhere, right? We're not getting anywhere, you know? That's why you see more and more Black people starting their own businesses, because we realize, like, you know, if we don't start our own businesses, our kids will be at a worse place than we are when it comes to poverty, you know what I mean? Because now it's the same, if you get an office job, you deal with racism, you know? Dude, it's just this big monster that when it comes back to rear its ugly head, I don't think will survive, because this was close. This civil unrest and the looting, you know, it has nothing to do with Zuma. It has everything to do with poverty, racism, and where we are as a country. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's
You're right.
A very painful thing.
Well, it's small, but to do with Zuma, but yeah, I don't think that was the bigger part of that picture. I think that
it was Zuma. Yeah, Zuma is the situation that just made everything just blow up. You know, it was gonna happen whether Zuma got arrested or not. You know, one or the other, because you can't have a situation where 80% of the population are living in poverty and then 20% are living comfortably. It's not sustainable. No. It's not. So what happens now? It's just a movie. It's just a preview. It's a trailer of what's going to happen in the next 10 years or the next 20 years. You know what I mean? So we need to start addressing these things as South Africans, as the government, everybody. We need to get involved and start talking about these things and then find solutions. You know what I mean?
It was definitely a trailer or a preview, and I really hope that we don't ever see the full film. I would like to avoid that.
I hope so too.
I hope so too. You know, my summary on the subject of racism is that it's largely misunderstood or understood from different perspectives, and people, they don't connect, or it's just outright denied. There are people that deny that there's a problem or racism is even a thing, or it's almost used as a tool to take advantage of situations where one can gain advantage over another or an entire demographic. So that's why I believe it's really important that people have constructive dialogue, and that's why I was so keen to engage with you and super psyched that you were happy to chat, because it's only through these kind of conversations that we can sort of bridge that gap of misunderstanding. So yeah, that's why I was super excited. But I want to. And Kedibone has disappeared again.
I'm back on. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were saying?
I want to pick your brain on one or two questions quickly. And, you know.
Yeah.
Let me start with the 2 points I made here. The first one is,
all right, let's hear them.
Do you think there is something you can actually do to convert a racist person to not being racist? Is there something that you can do? I mean, can you send them to a school, or can you change their environment, or do you just keep badger them? Or is it Or could it be impossible? Do we just have to wait for a racist person to die? Is that, how do you solve what happened?
What do you mean? Do you need to? That is what I mean. Do you need to wait for them to die?
Because I honestly sometimes think you can't. I mean, I've met some really racist people, and I'm thinking, and I'll talk to them, and I'll give them the best points, and then I still don't win them over. And then I sit back and I think, I'm just going to have to wait for you to die, because I don't know.
You're so funny, dude.
Can you convert a racist?
The dying thing is, okay, I'm going to answer that in two ways. Number one, it'll be difficult to convert a racist that's not willing to see the other side of the story, right? But now the other situation is that the very same racist, right? His kids are saying that there is a racist, this is how he lives his life, right? So it gets passed on, right? Nelson Mandela said the only way to convert a racist is to show him love or show her love, you know? Let's love them, because now hate, you are taught hate. Nobody's born hating somebody, you know what I mean? You think you are taught hate. So I think the best way we can attempt to change a racist through showing them love and showing them the other side of the story, and also showing them the benefits of not being a racist, you know what I mean? I don't know, dude, that's such a difficult question to think, you know, to answer. But now
have to answer it, because we're spending a lot of energy trying to convert racism, convert a racist, or convert a large group, or not a group, but we are trying to convert a lot of racist people into not being racist. And when we can't do that, well, then we try to manage the racism. And that's incredibly tricky as well. You know, where are we? Are we saying we're going to convert racists, or are we going to learn to deal with racism and manage it? Where are we? Or are we just waiting for them to die? Or perhaps people are sitting where I am, and I'm like, okay, we've got an older generation which are so stuck in their ways, but we've got this newer generation as well, and you know, some of them are being won over to a racist camp, and some of them don't care, and some of them are in the middle. You know, what do we do? And I am genuinely more concerned with my generation and the generation that's coming in. I really do think there's a bunch, an older generation, which are just lost.
Yeah, I think to answer that, we are managing racism, you know, but from a Black person's point of view, we gave up, or we're on the verge of giving up, because now, like I said, since the dawn of the new era, like the democratic South Africa, or since Mandela came out of jail, we've been begging. We are the willing partners. Let's talk about it. You know, we compromise a lot. You know, we forgive, we forget. You know, like, you know, we're like, yo, let's move on, because I tell you what, like a South Africa that is no racism or less racism will be a very successful country. You know what I mean? Because now we are missing out on the amazing country that South Africa can be, because now you have a segment of the community that are not willing to hear the other side of the story. You know what I mean? Dude, it's draining for myself as a Black person. It's draining, because now we're out of ideas. We are really out of ideas. You know, like, you know, you look at Reconciliation Day. You know, it's just us that are participating, and then you find racists that don't even see this as an important day. It's been changed to National Pride Day. You know, you're like, dude, I don't know. So I think maybe wait for them to die. But now the problem with that is that racism gets passed on from generation to generation. You know what I mean? It just, that's the problem. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe the white people that are racist, they do so they can have an upper hand over Black people, maybe because they see us as inferior, of which is just stupid and dumb. You're like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Because now, as a Black guy, I can do the very same thing that you can do. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, for me, racism is stupid. It's dumb. You know, it doesn't make sense. Because now, how do you try to survive in a cocoon as a human being? Because now, as a human being, you need to fly out. Look at George Bezos. He just went to space a few hours ago. Look at, say, Richard Branson. Like, you know, we need to expand and grow as people. Like, you know, in a few hundred years, we'll be, I mean, in a few years, in a few decades, we'll be colonizing other planets. Now, imagine if, you know, we are not able to do that because of the hate within us as human beings, you know, because now racism is, that's it, it's hate. Now you find that some races, how do you hate somebody and they still go to church and preach the word of the Lord and preach love, but yet you hate? It doesn't make sense from a point of view, you know. And then, dude, we're tired, man. We just tired. It's draining. It's the conversations that we have with our kids, like, you know, trying to get them to understand what is racism in the South African context. They're painful, bro. They're very, very painful. As painful as a conversation that, like, your Black African American will have with his or her kid about how he or she might get shot by the police on the street. Those are not conversations that humans are supposed to have with their kids. When I say human, I mean black, white, you know, you're not supposed to have, kids are supposed to live a carefree life because they're a child, you know what I mean? You can't live like an adult as a child because now it's gonna disturb your adulthood, you know what I mean? So now, dude, I don't know. I think maybe dialogue, maybe dialogue will help, but now dialogue can only help if, like, your racists are willing to, you know what I mean, to get on board. Because now racism has different faces. Tribalism is racism, you know what I mean? What's happening in Phoenix, that's racism, you know what I mean? So racism is hate. How do you hate somebody that you've never met? It doesn't make sense. Dude, it does not make sense. I even got a joke where I say, I don't get racists because, I mean, white racists because they were raised by black women. Do you get how deep that is? It's like, it doesn't make sense for me, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I believe racism is stupid. I believe it is largely taught. I believe it is being passed on from generation to generation, and it has to end. I understand that you said you said people are tired. I liked one other thing that you said is that about people needing to start businesses, because I'm such a champion for entrepreneurs. And, you know, if these big corporates are treating a set demographic in a certain way, it's wonderful if you could show them the middle finger and go start your own business. So that South Africa needs more entrepreneurs, not more jobs. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs are the only answer to our economy, but that's a whole different subject. I'm very much a numbers person. I wanted to get your take on this one. So we've got like 58 million people at the moment in the country, and I wanted to get a percentage guesstimate from you. I'm not going to hold you to this, but if you were to guesstimate what percentage of South Africa's population is actually racist, I'm talking about the real stuck in their ways, absolutely nasty, because there's no actual stats. There's no saying that, oh, South Africa's got 10 million racist people. It's just everyone is guessing everyone else is a racist person or whatever this is. How many racist people do you think we're actually dealing with in this country? 5 million?
In percentages or actual in numbers or percentages?
Either, like what either. Because who knows? I don't know what we're dealing with.
For me, it's what's the best way to think? Okay, I'll answer this and I'll answer that your question this way. Okay, from black people, we have black people that have turned racist because they've tried every possible way to work with, like, your racist, as in white racist, whatever. But now they failed. Now, throughout their years of trying to work with the racists, they've in a way developed hatred, you know, towards the people that they're trying to work with, you know, which is wrong because you can't treat hatred with hatred, right? So now you got a small percentage of black people that hate racists because of how they're being treated, and that in a way turned them, you know, to racists as well. And then you got, so from the black community, I'll say whatever, 3%, whatever, you know, and then you go to the Indian community, right? Now, so this, our race dynamics are so weird, dude. So now, the Indian community, when I say I mean like 90% of the Indian community, they don't want to be, they don't want to be called black. because they see us as inferior. That's why there's racism between Black and Indian people, right? So now with the Indian community, there's like 90% of Indians hate Black people because they hate us because we're Black, right? And then you have the colored community, right? The colored community, because apartheid classified them as almost white, right? They are hanging on to that thing that's almost white. So now they don't see themselves as Black people, right? So now within the colored community, you get whatever, 90% still of racists, right? And then you come to the white community, right? With the white community, you're looking at 95% of white people are racist. I'm not even bullshitting you, 95%. Reason being, maybe it's because the 95% own they control the own.
Oh dear, I think he's got another call coming through.
I would say 95% of the white community, you know. So it just depends, you know, on where you are. Like the Black community, you get 3% that are racist, that are converted racist. And then the Indian community, you got 90%. The colored community, you got 90%. And then the white community, you got like 95%, you know. So that's my answer to that. I hope I answered you.
Yeah, and it's really a guesstimate because no one's actually taken a racist census. So everyone's just guessing. But I wanted to ask that question because I've myself have tried to work out, you know, how many racists do we actually have in South Africa? Because I look at things very logically and literal, and I'm like, well, we have to deal with 5 million racist people. Where are we going to put them? You know, like, what are we going to do with them?
So when you send me the communication to say let's do this chat, you know what I want to do, right? When business back on them, I want to start a non-profit organization where you go out and you teach people on how not to be racist. You teach people how to laugh. That's basically, you know, like you go to corporate South Africa, you know, you teach people that, because I think if we sit down and do nothing, it's not going to help us in any way. So, and I'm that kind of a person. I don't like complaining and not doing something about it, you know. So I believe in solutions, you know what I mean? So even if the solution is not effective, at least I came with the solution, because it doesn't help us as South Africans to just say, you know, we gave up, you know. So let's keep pushing, let's keep looking for solutions, because if we don't do that, we are doing a disservice to the next generation. Like you said, you worry about our generation and the generation below us, you know. So I think if we do nothing, it'll be doing a disservice to them, you know. So I think let's get the dialogue going, you know. Let's.
I like that idea. Do a race sensitivity workshop business. Brilliant idea. So, but you know, really, it's also got to tackle home. I mean, a lot of this nonsense and shenanigans take place at home. We need to address this also at home and in our community.
Yeah, we do, because as Black people, we know that the racists call us the K word at home. We know that, you know, we've made peace with that. There's nothing that we can do about that, you know what I mean? So we need to have more of those. We need to have like a name and shame campaign, because I think that might just work, like a Hello Peter. Maybe not call it Hello Peter, call it Hello Pet, or, you know, if ever you encounter somebody that's racist or racism incident, you post it there. You know, if ever it's a company Z that was racist, you know, you get all South Africans to stop supporting company Z, and company Z will be forced to change their ways, you know, because I think sometimes you need to force people to think, you know, to change their ways. I don't know. It's just a thought, you know.
They had a similar system in place in the States where an app was zoning safe zones based on the demographics in the area. It didn't work. It didn't work out too well. I'm not sure if it's going to work with our cyber crimes and usage and privacy policies in South Africa, but I definitely like the idea of the workshops. So you also mentioned that racism, and you kind of touched on something that I believe is that racism has really distracted our nation in dealing with other challenges. And it's a huge concern for me because we've got pandemics now. And before we started this interview, I was telling you, it's not going to be the last one. We're going to get more. And the thing is, our nation is not ready to deal with the future problems. And it's because we're still dealing with past problems and now current problems as well, and we're never ever going to get to where we want to be as a nation if we're not working together, you know, and if we haven't resolved this this
problem.
So definitely
Right.
racism's been a major distraction, but there's also some other problems that we've got to tackle in the country. I mean, we've got the corruption, we've got lack of service delivery, major unemployment job problem, and of course financial and educational access and freedoms. Not whenever everyone has access to financial freedoms and education, so we've got racism, corruption, service delivery, jobs, and financial and education. Would you be able to like categorize an order of priority of out of those? What do you think are our main hurdles today? Is there a priority, or is it all of it?
It's you're right. Like racism has disadvantaged us, So I think if I were to list them out, because now until we deal with racism, we are not gonna go anywhere as a country, as a nation. That's a fact. We'll go, but we should be traveling at comfortable at 120 kilometers per hour on the N1, but we're traveling at 20 kilometers per hour. And you know what happens when you're on the N1 traveling at 20 kilometers per hour? You cause traffic, right? Now the traffic, that's the corona behind you, that's the service delivery, that's the corruption. That's the traffic that we're causing as a country because we haven't dealt with racism, because we're traveling at 20 kilometers per hour instead of the 120 kilometers per hour, right? So now, corruption as well, dude, because it's like I said earlier, as Black people, we've made peace with it, that our government is more often than not incapable, right, of solving the actual challenges that are facing us. Like I said, racism, right? And then because of corruption, if you're not well off financially, your kids can't have decent education. So when your child can't have decent education, it disadvantages him in the future, because now opportunities are very little. Because now, if you don't have quality education, you can't open a functional business, right? It goes back to this. So now you'll have to be on the back end of everything. And when you're on the back end of everything, you still have to deal with racism. So with everything, right? You look at service delivery, it's corruption, right? We need to be dealing with corruption, right? We need to, like Zuma shot himself on the foot. There's no such thing that Zuma has been treated unfairly. There's the court process that he thought is bigger than the law. That's why he finds himself where he is now. But now, on the other side of the Zuma issue, you find that the constitution that we have as a country is based 75 based on the apartheid constitution. You find that here and there, it disadvantages Black people as well. Look at the land issue. We need to find solutions to the land issue. We need to find workable solutions. Because it doesn't help for us to use racism as a stumbling block. Because you find that your most white people are using that. This and that. So now, dude. So I'd say let's fix racism. Once you fix racism, corruption will be easy to fix. Service delivery will be easy to fix. Because I think if you're a corrupt politician, you need to go to jail. That's not even negotiable. So now, because now if Ramaphosa sends corrupt politicians to jail, the other ones will see that, hey, if I steal money, I'm going to go to jail. Everybody's going to it'll stop. But now you can't dedicate your time into doing corruption and service delivery if now you still must deal with things with racism. Because most white people are well off, they don't necessarily need government services. You know what I mean? Because if you're sick, you go to a private hospital. So now because of that, you find that the only government services that the white community most white community use, is Home Affairs and Home Affairs. Yeah, I think it's Home Affairs because they need passports and IDs, and also I think the trading industry, whatever. But with the rest of the things, they don't use because like your majority of white people are well off. But with us as Black people, because we're not well off, we are stuck in the system. We're stuck with corruption. We're stuck with no service delivery. We're stuck with racism in the corporate South Africa. We're stuck with racism in our everyday life. Dude, it's draining, man.
Okay. Look, I think we definitely agree that depending on who you are and where you are, you may have a different order or priority list of things. But yeah, those things that I mentioned, I think are are universal challenges, and depending on who you are, you may prioritize.
True.
I also
True,
know
true.
that some smart aleck is probably going to call up after this video, maybe make a comment in the post saying that, you know, you said about 3% of the black people are racist and 95% are of white people are racist. And then what did you say? Indian communities? I know you were just
I said
estimating.
90% Indian community and then 90% colored community as well.
And then they're going to go with a calculator and they're going to say, well, there were 4 million white people, which means what? 3 million white racists, and then there are 40 million black people, 5% of that. Oh, there's also 3 million black racists. We have equal racism across the demographics, is what they're going to work out. But do you know what? Even 1 million racists in this country, regardless of their color, it's just it doesn't make sense. I don't know why people are racist. It's just, who's got time for that? I just don't understand the need to hate. It doesn't make sense to me. But I've kept you for so long now. I've got 2 quick questions. Maybe you can answer both. Maybe you'll just answer
Bring them on. Bring them on. Yeah.
So the first one is, the first one's such an important one. Is, do you think we have enough good people left in South Africa to deal with racists or racism? Like, do we generally have enough people? And it's not just about good. Do we have people who are willing? Because as you said, a lot of people are tired. And then the other question is, you know, what is it that we actually have to do to address racism? And I'm going to throw my answer in there quickly. I think the most important thing to deal with racism is education, because as you said, you learn to hate, and people need to think about why they are hating and what they are actually hating, or what they're getting out of hating. Because sometimes hate comes from, you get to profit off the hate, you know? So anyway, I'm answering my own question there. So those are the 2 quick questions I have for you.
Yes.
What's your take?
Okay. The first one, so yes, we still have good people that are willing to fix. So that's
we do.
See, we're here, you know. So let's fix this, and then the solution. How do we deal? Let's teach people love, you know, because eventually they get tired of hating. Because hating somebody needs energy, needs effort. You need to use a whole lot of resources within you, you know. So by loving somebody, you know, let's unlearn. Thank you for inviting me, guys. Let's love one another. Hate is bad for us. Racism is bad for us. Let's educate our kids how to love. Let's educate ourselves how to love, and we'll move faster as a country once we do that. Peace out.